Hey everybody, day number 3. This is awesome. You've done 2 shapes so far, the circle and the teardrop petal. So today we're going to use that teardrop petal and we're going to put a curve into it. So just giving it a little more of an organic shape, a little more personality, and easier to use when you're trying to use it in a design and you want it to fit a certain place, you can just curve it into that place. So let's grab our pen or pencil and print out our worksheet and let's get going on the curved petal. Now with your worksheet printed out in front of you, we get to see what we work on today. Now I have to say I'm very partial to this shape. I really love working with the curved petal. I could draw tons of these just for therapy. So let's get moving on this worksheet. We're starting with the basic teardrop petal here, so I just wanted to show you that. Remind you of what we did yesterday. Now we're going to add a curve to it, which is simply curving it either to the left or to the right. I'm a righty, so I'm more partial to the one that curves to the right. I find I can draw it easier. Practice them both. It's good to know how to draw in both directions, but you will find that you have a preference for one over the other. So now we're going to work this petal into a flower. And here I've given you an example where the points touch and one where they do not touch. So again, you can get different looks depending on how close you put them to each other, whether you let them float out in space or whether you have them all touching each other. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm keeping the paper perfectly still so that you can see what I'm doing. But when I draw these, I tend to rotate the paper around. I find them a lot easier to keep my consistency if I keep my hand in the same place, but I rotate the paper. That's pretty common in a lot of my designing. I tend to like to rotate my paper more so than my hand. Now on to the next line. We're going to do petals in petals as we've done with the previous 2 shapes. You can center them in the middle, you can make them touch at the bottom and on one side, or again you can stretch them out and make them a little thinner in the middle. So try tracing some of these out to get the feel of what it's like to have one inside the other. By building your shapes up within each other, you create a lot of interest in your design and it's easy detail to add in. So the next line we're going to work on is the stacked petals. In this area, I put the petals together in different ways. This first one here, I'm going to stack them different sizes, but I'm not going to touch them. So they're going to flow around each other, curving in a very similar way, but having that nice space in between them. This one over here, we're actually overlapping them. I'm allowing them to touch so they almost look like they're overlapped. This kind of creates a nice little shell design as well as some foliage. So start at whatever end you prefer, and then just start to overlap your petals as you go. You won't be drawing the complete petal. When it touches the next one, that's where you stop. And once you've stacked these in this way, you can even add more petals inside the ones that you've already drawn. So now that you have a bunch of ideas for the curved petal, grab your sketchbook and see what you can come up with on your own in the freehand. Again, remember these are organic shapes and you can make them look any way that works best for you. You come up with the best ideas when you let your imagination run wild. Tomorrow, we're going to try another shape. See you then.